Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 172. Boom.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host, he'd rather snowboard than ski, knuckle dragger, Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. With running your own business, legal questions always come with the territory. Like, can I use this contract or agreement? What do I do if a client doesn't pay? Am I even structured the right way for taxes? Instead of Googling your way through legal landmines, imagine having a law firm ready to address your business's legal needs without the sticker shock. That's what you get with Legal Shield's small business plans. Legal Shield helps entrepreneurs access real legal help on contract reviews, collection letters, business formation guidance, and even help navigating IRS audits. Members can schedule consultations, upload documents through the app, and get support from a provider law firm that knows small business laws in your state. Plus, consultations on taxes or trademarks help you stay ahead of potential problems. And if a client is late on a payment, Legal Shield steps in with professional collection letters so you can protect your hard-earned revenue, all for a fraction of the price of hiring a lawyer on your own. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What's up, everybody? Pat Flynn here. Thank you so much for joining me. This is session 172 of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. I hope you're doing well today. I'm feeling great, and I'm excited because we have a great guest on the show today. His name is Peter Voogd. That's Voogd. The D is silent. He's the CEO of GameChangersMovement.com and is the leading authority on Gen Y leadership. He's trained close to 5,000 young entrepreneurs, and he's training us today. He's got a lot of great advice to share. He has an amazing story coming from 15 and broke, by 23 making his first six-figure income and then going on to make seven figures later on. He has a best-selling book called 6 Months to Six Figures. Yes, 6 months to six figures. And I actually asked him about that title, if that's even possible, what the deal is with that. And we talk a lot about business and strategy and leveling up your business, taking it to the next stage and all this great stuff. He and I connected very quickly because we just share a lot of the same thoughts. And here he is. This is Peter Voogd from GameChangersMovement.com. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Peter Voogd, and I'm so happy because we have somebody who's going to help a lot of you out there who are listening. So, Peter, welcome to the SPI podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I really am excited to be here, Pat. I've listened to your podcast for quite a long time, so I'm honored, man.
Dude, tell us really quick about how you got started with entrepreneurship. You started at a very young age, and actually I have a lot of young entrepreneurs in the audience to the likes of even 8, 9, 10 years old. And I think especially you having started so early and working with a lot of young entrepreneurs, you can help them out especially, although I know this content's going to be helpful for everybody. But tell us how you got started.
Yeah, I want to first respect all of you guys that are entrepreneurs right now or taking the leap. There's no better feeling, and I think everyone should experience the exhilaration of being an entrepreneur. But yeah, I started when I was 13, 14 years old. And the reality is, Pat, I felt like I was a unique child growing up. I always spoke up. I was getting in trouble in school, and I got reprimanded for speaking out. And I was always kind of put in a box by the teachers. And it's funny, when you speak out and when you try to be different in school, it's looked down upon, you get in trouble. And in entrepreneurship, it's the exact opposite, which is really weird. So entrepreneurship really saved my life. So when I was 15, I got into eBay and started buying and selling things on eBay because I just it was actually Air Jordan shoes at first. Then I went to other things, but I was young and I liked basketball. So
You're a sneakerhead.
Definitely. And I recently sold most of them, but I had too many pairs of shoes. Now I'm realizing what am I going to do with all these shoes, right?
You and Chris Tucker would get along very well.
Oh, it's funny. We just emailed back and forth yesterday. It's funny you said that. I'll have to tell him that. So anyways, the big turning point for me, Pat, was I was 15. My dad owned a construction company and my friends would all work for him. And it was just hard labor. And I realized at a young age, I did not like the hard labor route. I'm not sure why. I couldn't stand it. And one day I was helping my dad for probably I had an 8-hour shift and I was on the half hour. And I'm like, Dad, I just have things to do today. And he's thinking, you're 15. What are you going to do? He knew I didn't like hard labor. But the reality is I wanted to go check how eBay was doing. So long story short, that day I had made $91 on a profit from one of the shoes I sold. And my friend was shoveling sand all day, Pat, and made $65. I believe it was $7 or $8 an hour. So I'm sitting there like, I just made $91 and my friend made $60 working 8 hours. And I just put something on eBay. But I think people need to realize I actually got paid for taking the risk and the courage to think differently. But that was it for me. Seeing that I could make money online without physical labor or having to be there and more based on my brain power, it was a game changer for me. And I knew I was never going to go back. So that was kind of the first turning point.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, kind of where did you go? Because obviously eBay is great, but it's hard to sustain it. Only a few people have had actual businesses on eBay for a while, and eBay's changed obviously since then. Where did you go from there?
Definitely. So I did that for quite a while, and it was great to have money and be able to pay for everything myself when I was middle school, high school. And what's funny is after a couple of years of being an entrepreneur, I was, I think 19, and everybody around me, Pat, was getting just the normal jobs. And even my parents and friends, they kind of were pushing me into just trying a normal job. And I'm like, I don't want the normal job with the normal lifestyle, with the normal paycheck, but literally because pressure, I tried a normal job. So I got a job valeting cars at a casino. And I remember just sitting there and realizing that no matter how much work I put in, I was only paid exactly what they thought I was worth. And it was frustrating. So I worked there for about 2.5 months, 3 months, stopped doing that. And I got into sales. So when I was 20 years old, I got into sales. So that was the only normal job I had, was working a valet at a casino. And I'll obviously never go back. Mm-hmm. Nothing against jobs like that, but I'd rather be in control of what I'm worth and based on the value I bring versus other people's opinions and when I can leave. And I'm sure most of your audience is the same way, right?
That was the hard thing for me. Like when I left architecture, I realized that there were a lot of people who were above me in the architecture world who were actually working a lot less or even just incredibly lazy. And me working as hard as I wasn't even making as much as those people.
I had the exact same experience where someone had been there a year more than me, did bare minimum. I actually got a letter written about me from a customer, Pat, saying what great customer service. I would try to go the extra mile. But at some point when I saw someone else that had just been there longer, he was older, but he did bare minimum, it really frustrated me. And I had this inner drive, like I have to do something else that's based on my potential. So it's funny that you had the same experience where it almost didn't make sense.
Right. We just hear, this is the path that we're supposed to go down, and we go down that path. And speaking of that, did you go to college or did you end up kind of becoming an entrepreneur and forego college?
Yes. So I did go to college at University of Oregon and studied a couple different things.
Nice.
And I went to business. Go Ducks. Yeah, go Ducks. And I went to, took some business classes and went to business school there as well. And yes, I went there and I learned some great stuff, had some connections, but most of the stuff I learned is from being in sales, from running businesses, from being in the trenches. A lot of stuff that I learned was more theory-based versus actual experience. So, I'm sure you've heard that. So after I got into sales, I worked my way up to a district manager where I ran my own sales organization up in the Seattle area, which was great. And I realized that I had a lot of scalability where I was able to build a team around me. And the problem was I didn't really learn leadership or systemization or how to attract A players and the right people. So I had a decent amount saved. And this was another pretty bad failure was I lost all the money I had. And I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week because I thought, Pat, just passion and drive and energy was enough to succeed. But I didn't have any real strategies or mentors. So what happened was I went broke and I was working 50 hours a week and I thought I had to work more hours. So then I would go up to 60 hours and then another society myth, right? The more hours you work, the better it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're in 1996, right? When you're a janitor, but not in entrepreneurship. So the reality is I worked 70, then I got up to 80 hours and I couldn't do it. I was physically burnt out and I wasn't getting any better of results. And what changed the game for me was I realized my circle of influence was all doing the same thing as me. They were burnt out, they were struggling. And I heard a quote that changed the game for me. And it was, if you want to be a millionaire, talk to billionaires, you'll get there quicker. And I never had heard that before. And it really just sparked the light bulb like, wow, I need to start elevating my circle of influence. And I realized that I had to get into personal growth. And I did. I bought every course, audio, video. I was listening to YouTube and reading every book I could, but I had information overload. So I was, long story short, I got into team leadership, finally figured it out and was able to get great results. And I was still working a lot, but I finally learned how to get the results I wanted in my business and was able to do $1 million+ in sales. But my problem was I was still working 70, 80 hours a week. And I was thinking, I need to do this, Pat, in less hours and learn how to scale and how to systemize and how to make sure I'm not trading time for money. So that's when I went on a studying rampage for literally 6, 7, 8 months, studying productivity, entrepreneurship, every successful person I could. And I was able to increase my results, double, and scale back my time to 25, 30 hours a week as well. And was able to do that for quite a bit. And then a couple of years ago, so I had a comfortable 6-figure income, but I wanted to kind of build my own brand and do my own thing. So I reached out and connected with some other entrepreneurs in the online space and speaking space and author space and was able to get some mentors there. And now I've been able to build the brands and was able to create the 6-figure income in multiple industries because of what I learned in my sales job as well. So that's kind of the short story, but now.
So 6 figures in multiple industries. So you're not just doing one thing in one space, but you have several versions of this sort of strategy that you're using in different industries?
Yeah, I'm getting paid a couple different. It's funny. I was just talking to John Lee Dumas about this. Getting paid 9 or 10 different ways, and I'm trying to multiply and scale at a high level, the right way, systemized, and making sure that I'm adding as much value as possible too. So we can dive into that. But yeah, I realized too that you have to make sure that you're creating things now and being strategic and intentional now with your time and efforts, to where you're creating more free time for your future and you're multiplying it as well. So,
right.
And you talk a lot about that in your show.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing all that. I think to everybody else out there listening, it's very inspiring, but also they want details. They want the meat, right? And you had talked about, and I love this, you had said that you had the passion, drive, and energy, but what was kind of holding you back before was you didn't have the strategy and the mentors. And I think obviously the mentorship is obviously very important, increasing that circle of influence that you have. And I've talked a lot about connecting with other people, mastermind groups, networking, and those sorts of things. And then you talked about being able to strategize and then systematize and scale. Can you give any details on how one might be able to go and do that? Because I think I would say most of the people in my audience who are listening right now, they have the passion, they have the drive, they have the energy, or they wouldn't be listening to this show and spending hours listening to all of us who are on the as guests and stuff. But then where do they go from there? How do they strategize? What are the steps that are involved with helping people actually become an entrepreneur instead of staying a wantrepreneur?
Definitely. Good question. Well, first you have to realize that you have to start doing the unrequired work that most people aren't willing to do. Whatever is easier to do, it really is. It's easy to listen to a podcast. It's easy to read a book. It's easy to go to a seminar these days. It's actually easy to wake up a little bit earlier than most. But if everyone's doing it, you're not going to get the reward. So you got to figure out what's the unrequired work that really you need to master and practice daily on, that's going to yield the biggest results. So I think when it comes to system, you have to define, Pat, first. Before we even get to a system, as an entrepreneur, you have to define what's most important to you. Because if you don't, you're just going to jump from opportunity to opportunity and not have any standards for yourself or your future business. So you have to figure out what's important. I think the key focus here is figuring out your strong skill, mixing it with your passion, and then solving a problem people care about, right? That's the first step. And I think if you wanted to systemize it, you need to figure out who you need and really what your strengths are and how to make sure that you're hiring the right people to fulfill those roles. But like I always say, you don't need to know the answer. You need to develop relationships and shift your circle of influence to the people who are already doing what you want to do, and they can give you the answers. See, a smart person, I think, learns from their mistakes, as all successful people do. But I think those wanting the world-class results that people are listening want, learn from other people's mistakes so they can cut their learning curve in half and not waste as much time making them. So what I would do, Pat, is figure out what industry you want to be in. Make sure it's something that'll keep you fascinated and engaged, something that's scalable, something that matches your core values, and then find the top 3 to 5 in that industry and ask them where the mistakes they made were, what you need to do to make sure you're cutting your learning curve in half and getting to the level they're at. So there's different systems. So if you're building a sales organization like I did, I think the 3 things that you want to make sure you have when you're building a sales team is 1, expectations, very clear and precise expectations of what you need from your people. And of course, you want to hire very slow and fire very fast. Sadly, I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, Pat, do the opposite, where they're hiring very fast and they fire very slow because they get their feelings involved, right? That's a guaranteed way to go broke, is get all your feelings involved when you're hiring and firing. You have to make sure it's an intelligent business decision. But the first step is expectations. And then you have to have within every area of your organization, accountability, systems in place, whether it's checklists, whether it's blueprints, to where if you leave the business, you can hand it over to somebody and they can tell you exactly what they're doing for the next week or for that specific, whether it's a marketing system or whether it's keeping track of your sales reps or whatever. And then the last thing is feedback, to where you have to have a system in place where you give people feedback, and not just give them feedback on what to do, but tell them what they're doing well and ask them how they feel they can improve, and then teach them how to get better, teach them how to reach out and learn things. So you're not babysitting, but you're actually teaching them how to be a leader as well. So we can go a lot of different ways with systemizing, Pat, depending on the business. But that's kind of the focus when you're building a sales team, is making sure that you really find the right people and you're defining their roles and making sure that you define the values that you want in somebody, whether it's their past success, confidence, attitude, their skills. I'm a big believer in hiring the best at what they do and hiring for your weaknesses, where if I have a weakness, I'm going to find someone that's their strength and kind of build the dream team that way, if that makes sense.
All right. I mean, I think whatever kind of business you're going to end up creating, it's all about understanding who you are and what you're good at. Then if you hire other people, you hire, like you said, on your own weaknesses who can sort of fill in those gaps instead of what a lot of us try to do is become that one-man show, which is what I tried to do for a long time.
Same with me.
and learn. And it's good to learn, but, it's also good to optimize what you're already good at and then find other people to help fill in those gaps. Let's
talk. I want to dig in real quick. And can we just go any angle with this?
Any angle.
I love it. So you've had the same experience. I remember listening to your podcast with Michael Hyatt, and I'm thinking he's a big deal. And he's like, I was doing all the podcasts myself. So I know if people that are big are doing this, entrepreneurs are doing this worldwide, doing everything themselves. Why do you think that is? Let's dig to the core of that. Why are people trying to do everything themselves? Is it the lack of money where they don't want to spend the money or what?
I mean, I think that's part of it. A lot of people who I know are getting into hiring VAs and stuff are just worried about the ROI on that. So they feel like, why pay somebody else something for something they could already do themselves? I think that's part of it. But for me, more so, it was just the pride that goes into creating something that's my own, and almost not necessarily selling out, but sort of just saying, hey, you go do this while I go do something else, even though I could do it myself. It doesn't feel like it's my own anymore.
Yep. And I had the same feeling where I want to figure everything out myself. But then at some point, when you really look at the values, like, this is not making sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not making sense at all to do all this yourself. You have to find other people. And John Maxwell, I learned years ago, if someone can do something 80% as good as you better delegate that.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense. So I just wanted to hit on that because I think people need to realize you're going to get to your end result a lot faster. You're going to impact more people a lot faster if you find the right people and figure out what your low dollar value activities are. What are your high dollar value activities? What are your no value activities? And what are your lifetime value activities, which are things that are scaled, legacy based, like writing a book or creating a program or a course. Those are, you don't get paid immediately, but they're high lifetime value. And I think people need to really focus on lowering the low dollar and no value work or delegating it and hiring the high dollar profit producing activities and putting rituals in their schedule, Pat, to make sure those happen week in, week out. Because in entrepreneurship, you don't have people showing up telling you what to do. You have to figure it out.
Right. And that's the hard part. I mean, that was a lot. I was a really good architect because I had a project manager who would always tell me what to do, and I would do it really well, really fast. And then when I got laid off and got onto my own stuff, it was hard to.
You're like, where's that guy at? He's not here.
And luckily, I got connected with people who became that person. My mentors and other people in mastermind groups who would tell me what to do, and then I would follow those directions and then go do them and go back to them and say, okay, what else now? And that's the kind of mindset you have to have in order to keep being pushed forward. If you're that type of person who needs somebody to tell you what to do, not everybody is that way, but I was that way. And even now today, I still get a lot of advice. I always seek advice. I always seek help and get feedback, not just from mentors and people in my mastermind groups, but also people in my audience as well, who often give me directions and give me good advice on where I should be going next or how things look on that side and kind of helping me determine what direction to go down. But man, I love this conversation. Let's keep going. You had mentioned, writing a book, and I know you wrote a best-selling book called 6 Months to Six Figures. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you, is that a realistic expectation in terms of building a business? Can you really build a six-figure business in 6 months? Because to me personally, that sounds like it's very fast and faster than, quote, normal. And in my own experience, the businesses I've created that have done the best have taken a year to a year and a half before I've started to see that return on investment, and not just in money to create that, but also the time. Can you give us more information on 6 months to six figures and what that is, and is that truly possible?
Yeah, definitely. Good question. And it says in the book, when you read it, it's more about having the best 6 months you've ever had, whether it's from 6 to 7 figures, whether it's making 60 grand or getting out of the hole. But for me, I personally did it. You have to have a platform, Pat. You have to, like I talk about, someone in your industry has had to done it. You have to be in the right industry. Like if you're working at the mall and you read 6 months of Six Figures, you can't go up to your boss at Wendy's and say, I got to do this. I need to get paid $100 an hour. You know what I mean? So it does show exactly the industries you have to be in, entrepreneurship wise, what the questions to ask are. But personally, it's more about how to get where you are, or how to go from where you are to where you want to be, regardless of the economy. And for me, that was a story to me when I was broke, stressed out, discouraged, and struggling. From the moment I made that definite decision and I decided to connect with the top level people in my company that were already making money that I wanted and the success that I wanted, I was able to, in 5.5 months, create a 6-figure income. And I was able to increase that working less. And I didn't know it was a framework at the time, Pat, but I realized that it was needed at the highest level because most entrepreneurs didn't know how to make money, didn't know how to turn their ambition and passion and energy into something that impacts, makes money, and scales. So, and I realized that most books had so much fluff and BS, and colleges weren't doing the best job teaching entrepreneurship. Some coaches weren't, parents weren't. So I felt like I had to give a blueprint that was based on experience and results and past success to really help people go from being stressed out to really making money on or offline as well. So I was able to take that same formula. It took me 7 or 8 months to realize it was an actual formula or blueprint. And then I was able to do it in different industries. I created a membership site. I was speaking. I had obviously a book come out. I was also doing real estate, direct sales. So it is possible because I do have case studies. So I've seen entrepreneurs do it multiple times where they've made 6 figures in 6 months, starting from scratch. And I've seen people who were making 80 grand and now they're making 180 within 3 or 4 months as well with these tools. So to answer your question, yes, it's tough. But of course, everything is tough and seems impossible till it's actually done and consistently done over time by numerous people.
Right. The 4-minute mile.
Exactly.
Thing.
That's a really good example. Yeah. So, and it's funny. I knew when I made it, it's like some people are going to say, oh, it's all about money, 6 months, 6 figures. You can't do that. And I mean, I welcome the people that are like that. I haven't had too many, which is crazy. We're getting some great reviews. I think we have 600 something reviews on Audible in 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's great. For those of you listening, it's a 27-time international best-selling book. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's great.
And
congratulations.
I appreciate that. And I'll tell you that impacting people internationally is fun, and it's something that I never dreamed of. And it's been fun on the journey. And it's definitely humbling to write a book and share your story, but it was definitely a headache writing it. And I know, obviously, the experience. But oh my gosh. Yeah. Once I got it out, it felt
I'm
so
in it
good.
Right now, so I'm like, ugh.
Have you had any headaches, or has it been perfect?
Oh, it's headaches every day. But
it's going to be till it's done. Sadly.
Oh, I know. And seeing that end goal and imagining sort of taking Hal Elrod's advice and imagining people reading it and getting use out of it and building their own anything out of it based on the book I'm writing is really what's driving me forward. So the headaches, it's just a sign that it's tough, but it's going to be amazing on the other end. And
you've done it the right way, Pat. You've built such an amazing platform. You have a ton of raving fans. Like I posted on Facebook all the things I'm doing. I'm getting interviewed by Forbes and some other stuff. I connected with Jay Papasan yesterday and connected with some pretty high level entrepreneurs. And I put I have a podcast with Pat, and like 3 people automatically were like, "Oh my gosh, Pat! I love Pat." I'm like, I did say other people too besides Pat. It was so funny. So you have some big fans.
That's
so you're doing
funny.
it before.
I love the community. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the very long-term approach. I've been giving away free content for 6-7 years now, and people have been begging me for things to sell them, which is interesting, and I love that. And I think a lot of us could do that too. Although I don't know if waiting 6 years to get paid for things is necessarily the best advice, but building an audience and really providing value—that's really what it's all about. Great things happen when you do that.
Oh, 100%. So that's why I knew the book was needed at the highest level. And I wanted to be the person that gave the blueprint for younger entrepreneurs on really how to make money on or offline the right way. Because there's really 3,000 or 4,000 ways to get to an end result. But there's usually 1 to 2 optimal ways. And most entrepreneurs take the long route. And I wanted to take the short route. And I've connected with MJ DeMarco numerous times. And he's really has the fast lane mindset. And I want to teach people that because it's not like that. I mean, I still talk to entrepreneurs. Well, my mom and dad want. I didn't ask what your mom and dad wanted. I asked what you wanted. And they're like, well, I'm going to go to school, get a job, and then I'm going to eventually become wealthy when I'm 62. It's like, is that really what you want? I don't think it is. So that's why I wanted to give a book to show what's possible at a young age, and really to raise people's standards and hopefully inspire people to take action.
That's cool. And you also have a community at gamechangersmovement.com, which is dubbed as the premier community for young professionals and ambitious entrepreneurs. You've helped thousands of people start their businesses already. So I'm sure you've known or have noticed a lot of common problems that, or common issues, difficult things that young entrepreneurs especially go through when they're just starting out. So what have been some of the hardest struggles that people are having, and how are they able to break through them, or how are you able to help those people break through them?
Yeah, good question. So we did a survey to all the people that listen to my podcast, as well as my game changers and some of my lists. So we had a lot of people respond. So just to give value to people as far as what they were struggling with, the number one thing people are struggling with is A, lack of clarity, right? And B, being consistent. So they were very inconsistent because they didn't have any systems in place. And the number one thing that they wanted, let's see if you can guess, Pat, the number one thing that was important to a young entrepreneur millennial. Can you guess the number one thing they wanted really in life in general?
Freedom.
Close. What was important to them? You wouldn't, I mean, it's tough. You wouldn't really think it. And it was about a couple thousand people that took it.
Recognition.
Close. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Networking. They wanted to be around other like-minded people because they didn't have the right circle of influence. That was number one. Income was number three. Freedom was number two. So, and I don't know if you've surveyed millennials as well. I'm sure there'll be different results. But the reality is networking was huge for them because they wanted to be around other like-minded people that understood them, that was able to have the same conversation. Because I think a lot of people feel lost because they're connecting with people that they don't really relate to anymore. Because
that's cool that they know that, though.
Yeah, it is true.
I think that's amazing, because for me, I didn't know how important it was until I finally started doing it.
That's the one thing they look for in jobs now. They have to have a community of networking and people that they can connect with and have a little bit of autonomy and fully believe in the company. Yeah, millennials are changing the game, man. I'll tell you that. So as far as some things that have really been tough for me and for entrepreneurship, I think the things that people need to understand is, first, failure, I think, is the only thing guaranteed. I really do. Dream jobs are disappearing, right? And creating your ideal opportunity now is the new normal. And a lot of people are getting into entrepreneurship, tell me if I'm wrong, with kind of a blurred perspective where they see everyone doing well and living a lifestyle and posting pictures of them with a laptop on the beach, but they don't see the hustle and grind behind it of them working till 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night when they were in their sacrifice stage. So I think you need to understand failure is guaranteed, and how you respond to failure determines your success. And I think successful entrepreneurs are paid for their high tolerance for stress, pain, and pressure. People need to understand it. They're paid for their high tolerance for stress and pain. I'm sure building your podcast, building your business, transitioning out of architecture, Pat, did you have growing pains? Did you ever second guess yourself and want to quit? No one hears those
every day.
Exactly. But now they see you doing amazing. I'm guessing you travel a lot, right? When I was emailing you first, you're like, yeah, I'm in here. You're over there in different countries. So are you still traveling a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I just got back from Ghana and then Hawaii. I'm headed to Australia, but just kind of packing everything in the summer while my son, who's 5 now and in school, that's his time off. So
tell me, I don't have kids yet, but I'm scared to have kids because I love my lifestyle. Does that change when they're younger?
Oh, your lifestyle will change. But for me, it's gotten much better. And in terms of productivity and work, it's actually helped me become a better entrepreneur.
More effective.
Yeah, I mean, it's worked on both sides. The business that I run has helped me become a better father, but becoming a father has helped me become a better entrepreneur. And probably the biggest thing is now that I have 2 kids, I make sure that the work that I do is the work that I need to do and nothing more. I'm not wasting time. Every second I waste in my business is a second that I'm taking away from my family as well.
Talk about motivation at a higher level.
Oh, gosh. I mean, John Lee Dumas, I think, talks about this on his podcast, how a lot of entrepreneurs who are featured on his show have had that baby effect. When they have a baby, then they finally get, they put the pedal to the metal because they have something worth fighting for.
I was just talking to David Siteman Garland about that week and a half ago.
Yeah, he just had a kid.
Yep, too. And he's like, it's a whole new level of motivation. I'm like, I've been hearing that a lot. So
right,
that's
but
awesome.
I'm not saying like have a kid so that you can build a better business. I'm not saying that.
So that's not why you had your kids? No, I'm just kidding.
No, it was a cool byproduct though of having kids.
Cool, I love that. So yeah, and that's what I realized is I was trying, when I was newer to entrepreneurship, I was trying to not fail at all and trying to get around failure and trying to do everything right. And I had the perfection mentality, and it cost me a lot of money and a lot of headache. And it cost me a year or two where I could have been more productive. So that's the first thing. The second thing I think that I realized that I think young entrepreneurs need to realize is habits trump inspiration 7 days of the week. Inspiration is needed to create consistent action, but your habits are going to ultimately define your success, your results, and your impact. It's been said after seminars and even after listening to podcasts and reading books, only 5% use what they've actually learned. And I think that's because inspiration is short term and feels good in the moment, but it doesn't last past the activity producing it. And I think the biggest inspiration of all is seeing progress and results which come from new habits. So I think that's a huge key. Another thing that I think is paralyzing our society, young entrepreneurs, is there's so much information out there. There's information overload. There's so much technology involving technology, information. There's content online, offline, books, audios being created daily. And I think people need to really focus on mastery versus information overload. Instead of reading 50 books in a year, why don't you master 3 or 4 to where you can teach it to people as well and make sure that what you're studying, when I started defining what my goals were and really understanding the skills I needed, and then only researching and reading about things that were fully congruent to those end results, it totally changed my perspective of success. And I was able to reach bigger heights quicker because I was focused on mastery. And I think that's huge. And then, like we talked about already, your circle of influence is going to, I think, make or break you in entrepreneurship. Leaving your mind open to negative influences or other people, I think, is a very common weakness of entrepreneurs, especially new entrepreneurs. And the poor choice of influence, I think, heads one of the top of the list of why most entrepreneurs quit prematurely. So to grow and learn and become the person who achieves the success that you see your guests talking about and us talking about, you have to have an exceptional supporting network. And I think that's huge. And it's not easy, but it's worth it. I think what I want to tell people is the bigger the goals, the bigger the challenges, the bigger the rewards, the tougher the journey. Whereas once you set a goal to be an entrepreneur, you're going to have challenges show up, and they will show up consistently because they're there to test your character and faith to see if you're serious about becoming an entrepreneur. If there was no challenges, it wouldn't be worth anything, and everybody and their mom would be entrepreneurs. So you have to focus on the rewards on the other side of the struggle. And like you said, you're focusing on the end result of the book, to where focusing on getting it in the hands of 100,000 people and getting emails and sharing your story with the world while making money while you're sleeping as well. That's a positive. But you have to visualize being your own boss, controlling your schedule, and inspiring others while creating freedom for yourself if you really want to push past those challenges. So it's not easy, but it's worth it. I think chaos is guaranteed when you strive for greatness, but you got to adjust and adapt.
All right. Well said. You had mentioned earlier about productivity, how inconsistencies and what people do is something that holds a lot of people back. And then you brought in how habits are very important. And I find that to be absolutely true as well. And I've been working hard to create positive habits in my life that have helped me both in my personal life and in business. And in terms of creating habits, do you have any tips or systems or strategies for creating those positive habits? And what are those positive habits for you as an entrepreneur?
Well, I think one of the biggest habits you can develop is simplicity and simplifying everything that you do into what really, really matters, 1, and 2, what gets results. So I think it's not really a tactical habit, Pat, but I think it's a habit that's needed, is to focus on simplicity.
So that's a mindset shift.
You have to shift your mindset before you shift your habits. Mindset comes first, results come second. Period. So if I'm giving tactical advice to someone who has the wrong perspective, they're going to go right back to the wrong perspective and the wrong mindset immediately. So I think that's a key. But as far as habits go, I think one of the biggest habits is prioritizing and being extremely intentional on how you start your day. So, for example, making sure you're seizing each day, but starting with a morning routine. I know you've had Hal, right, on here?
Yeah.
And he's talked about the morning routine. Was he hyper as ever, or was he quiet and calm?
He was hyper as usual, and I love Hal. He's amazing.
That's awesome. So one thing I do as far as the habit is I look at my 1-page productivity plan every single day. And what's on the productivity plan is ideal vision statement of the next 6 months of my business and my life. and then my 3 core values, my big 5 for the next 6 months. So I put down my big 5 goals, what I want to accomplish in the 6 months. And then I write down my top 5 compelling reasons why I want to hit those goals. And I sell myself on the goals, because if you don't sell yourself on what you're doing, you're going to let up or doubt yourself. And then I have my key behaviors and habits that I need to attract those 5 goals and to make sure I accomplish those. So I think the biggest habit is doing something daily that reminds you of your vision. So you're letting your vision guide you, not your current circumstances. Does that make sense? So looking at your goals daily is a huge habit. And
so you have a 1-page productivity plan. I love this. People might end up creating a version of their own.
So I have a PDF I can send you if you want to send it to your people. That's fine.
Yeah, that would be cool to look at. And just to kind of go over it again, it's something you look at every day. Is it like a file you open up, or is it printed out and you just look at it? So
good question. I have it. I have 3 copies laminated. Okay, and this is a huge part of my productivity. So I have 3 copies laminated. I have one right above my office right here that I can see on the wall. Then I have one posted in the shower. I don't want anyone to visualize. In the shower up top. So I see it every single day. And then I have one in my planner pad that I look at when I'm traveling and stuff like that. So I have them everywhere. And it's such a difference maker on consistency when you make sure that you have your vision and your goals that you've clearly defined guiding all your action. And it reminds you of what to say no to, what to say yes to, what to focus on. And it's just that extra bit of focus that people need. And it's hard to be inconsistent when you're focusing on that.
I love that. So it has the 3 core values that you have, the big 5 goals that you have for the next 6 months or year. And I love this one, the top reasons for those goals. A lot of us write down goals, but then, those are goals that we have in the moment that we have when we're writing them down. But we often forget, okay, why do we have those goals? And so having your reasons there for those goals and the reasons, that are going to motivate you to do them, I think that's key. I think that's absolutely crucial. And I think I'm going to start thinking about that even more.
Here's what you have to do. If you want to get real, I taught this to my sales team, and we were able to do a lot of amazing things in sales and do millions in sales with I had 18, 19, 20-year-olds just crushing it. Winning scholarships, making great money. But I taught them this, and they'll never forget it. I get people now that reach out years ago. Now they reach out and they said, hey, that thing you taught me years ago, I still use today. And I really, that inspires me. So the reasons why is you have to write down probably 20 to 25, Pat. And the reality is 90% of those are BS. A nice car, yeah. If you're still sleeping in and you're not fired up early, you don't have strong enough reasons, period. So 5 or 6 of those reasons are the real deep, compelling reasons. Like yours would be your kids. That's not an external, that's a really internal reason for you to where that's not going to let you ever get complacent because it means a lot to you. So if people can come up with 4 or 5 of those, they might have to throw away 15 of them that, yes, they're meaningful, but not really meaningful where they're like up at night, so focused and juiced up to take on the day. So you got to really narrow them down to your internal top 5.
I love that. Maybe there's an exercise we can give everybody listening right now to come on the blog and leave a comment based on maybe one of the goals they have and maybe sharing also a reason for having that goal.
Definitely. You know what's interesting? Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll tell you the importance of it. We had a sales contest for 2 weeks, and we were able to break some pretty big records. And I had people making $15,000, $20,000 in a week or two, and they're 18, 19 years old. So here's what happened though. It was amazing, and I get chills thinking about it. So we had the top 10 people give their best reason. And I'm not joking. From the number 1 salesperson to number 10, it almost seemed like number 10 had a great reason, but number 9's was a little deeper, and number 1 had the strongest reason.
What was that reason? Do you remember?
I believe it was because his mom was sick and he needed to make the money to get her the treatment.
Wow.
But
so he crushed it.
Yes, and then I think number 3 was it was a rougher kid that I gave a chance, and he was going to get his family was going to get evicted. So these were reasons that were deep, not like I want to buy a new car. Right. These were deep reasons, but the bigger the reasons, the higher results they got. So that was a powerful thing that I realized. This was 2008 or 2009, but I never forgot the power of reasons. Whenever I find myself complacent or not focused, I just shake out the negativity or the complacency, and I look at my reasons and I get deep on what really, really matters. So that's huge. Yeah, we should definitely have people leave comments. That'd be great.
So, okay, can you define what they should be leaving in the comment section?
Yeah, I think they should leave what their most compelling reason is to become a top-notch or an elite entrepreneur. What do they fall asleep thinking about? What's their hot button? I think if they can define, I would have them write down their top 10 and then narrow it down to their top 1 or 2 and then post below
And share that.
their top reason and then why that means something to them. And I promise you the ones that come up, and sadly most people that won't do it because it takes work or action, but the ones that do, maybe your viewers are super engaging. I love that. But yeah, just their top reason. Anything else you want to add? I think that would be powerful.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. We'll reiterate that after we hang up and before we sign off today.
I'd love to see some reasons too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a bunch of them. I'm sure every time I've asked the audience to act on something, people are very surprised about how many people actually take action, and that's a great sign for everybody out there listening. So hopefully you'll take action on this, and if you don't have a chance to come on and leave a comment, hopefully you can at least think about what your top reason is for doing what you do. I mean, I think that's so important because thinking back to my life as an architect, I remember going into work and coming out of work every single day and not even really thinking about why I was doing what I was doing. It was just because that's the path I was on. And, I had to get food on the table and put a roof over my head, but, I didn't think beyond that.
Definitely. And either did I when I was first getting into different businesses. I just wanted to get results and I wanted to possibly make money and get freedom. But I didn't realize that the results the reasons come first. And when I figured that out, it was such a game changer.
Okay, final question here before we hang up. And again, Peter, this has been an amazing conversation. 2 final questions. First one, where can people find out more about you and what you have going on?
Yeah, so I have a new book coming out, Pat, and it's theentrepreneurbreakthrough.com. And my website's on there. They're going to get information about that. But to be honest, they can go to gamechangersmovement.com. I have a lot of information on there. And then on my Twitter, PeterVoogd23, I'm very active and engaging on there. I love connecting with people. If they have any questions, they can post them there as well. So really, it's gamechangersmovement.com and theentrepreneurbreakthrough.com, and they can learn more about me. And then add me to Facebook and LinkedIn. And I love connecting with just young and hungry entrepreneurs that are really ready to take their game to the next level. So
awesome. And your last name is spelled Voogd. The D is silent.
Yep, GD.
So Peter Voogd D.
Good job.
Cool.
You said it right. I don't do that often, but you said it right.
Thanks.
My mom is proud.
All right, final question here. For people who already have a business, or maybe people who listen to this in the future, a second time after starting their business, how can they max out their income like as soon as possible? What are the 20% of things they could do to get 80% of the results right now in their business?
Ooh, good question. I think the first thing that they need to really think about is where are they only shooting for 2x or 3x growth when they should be shooting for 10x growth? That's a question, is where are they falling short as far as focusing on the results where they could be focusing at such a higher level of growth and progress? That's a question I ask myself, and it's really made a pretty big difference for me as well. So that's one question, is figure out where you can focus on 10x growth, not just 2x growth. And then 3, I think if people can do these things, if they can eliminate right now everything that others do better than them, everything that drains their energy and their relationships that go nowhere, and they can increase everything they permanently love, everything that produces growth, and everything that grows them and their team's confidence, and they can do that consistently, I think that's one of the game changers that can take their business to a whole new level, because they're going to get clearer thinking, they're going to be higher level, they're going to be around higher level people. And really, that's how you maximize your growth and progress, is get rid of everything that drains your energy and focus on improving things that increase your growth, confidence, and what you love as well. And think about what's that one thing that you should be focusing on at a 10x level that currently you're trying to incrementally improve. I think if they do that, I think they'll have a pretty big leap in results.
Love it. Peter, thank you so much for your time on the show here today. I appreciate it. We'll have all the links and resources mentioned here after we hang up. But dude, thank you so much. Best of luck to you in your new book. Congratulations on all the success, and we look forward to even more from you in the future.
Appreciate it, Pat. Thanks for all you do. Much respect to you as well.
Cheers. Thanks, Peter. All right. Thank you so much for listening in today. One of the most important things we do here is we get you to take action. And one of the things we talked about in this episode, as you know, is heading over to the blog and leaving a comment about truly the number one reason why you do what you do. I think it's really important to share that and at least just understand it. And hopefully this will help you, give you an excuse to think about it, because a lot of people work, like I said, without really knowing why they do what they do. Well, head on over to smartpassiveincome.com/session172. That's smartpassiveincome.com/session172. And leave a comment there and share, why is it you do what you do? Why are you working so hard? Why are you hustling? What is the true number one reason why you are doing what you're doing? Leave that there. It's going to be very inspirational to read yours and everybody else's along together. And Peter's going to go in there and actually, explore and see if he can help you guys out too. So again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/session172. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Again, if you would just want to thank Peter really quick, he said he's very active on Twitter, and I just had started following him very recently. And yes, he is very active on Twitter at Peter Voogd. That's VOOGD 23. So PeterVoogd 23, like Michael Jordan. Peter Voogd 23. And follow him there, and you can see what he's up to. You can also go to GameChangersMovement.com, and he has a new book coming out, The Entrepreneur Breakthrough, which you'll be able to find on the show notes as well, smartpassiveincome.com/session172. Thank you so much for listening in today. Thank you to Peter for his stories, his wise advice, and all best of luck to you. Thank you. Hey, and really quick, I want to let you know about a page on the website that might be really helpful for you. A lot of you are already taking action on what you've heard on the podcast, which is fantastic. But a lot of you have also messaged me asking for more, deeper information, more fine-tuned and highly targeted information for specific problems and pains that you might be having. So what I did was I actually put together a few courses. There's more courses actually coming down the road, but you could check out all the courses and things that are available to you there at smartpassiveincome.com/courses. My team and I have worked really hard to put together the best information that'll help you solve specific problems that you might be having in your business. So if you're just starting out and you need help and you need accountability, handholding, you want a community behind this as well, check it out, smartpassiveincome.com/courses. You can see what's available there. All different kinds of courses to help you through a number of different things you might be working on. And like I said, there are more courses coming down the road too. So one more time, smartpassiveincome.com/courses. I also want to mention another company, and actually this is a browser extension and an app and something that I've been really, really excited about lately. This is called Sidekick, and this is by HubSpot. A lot of you know about HubSpot. Well, this is their new thing. You can find it at getsidekick.com/SPI. I have this installed right now, so when I open my Gmail, I can see a lot of cool insights on those who I'm sending emails to. I get a little thing in the sidebar that gives me more information about them and who they are, their picture. But also when I get emails back, I get that too. But the coolest thing about this is you can receive live notifications when someone opens and clicks on your emails. And this, by far, has been one of the handiest things I've found with emails lately to have supporting me. So I can send an email, click a certain button, which is a Sidekick button, that lets me know that when a person opens my email, I just get a notification on my desktop that somebody's opened that email. So I can check really quickly, okay, is this person getting this really important email? And I don't do this for every email, just the important ones, but it's been very, very handy for me to see when somebody opens and clicks on my emails. It's almost like on your phone when you're doing text messages and you see that other person has read what you've sent. It's very handy. And if they haven't, then you know to resend them something, and it's very important. So go to getsidekick.com/SPI to get your first month of Sidekick for free. Again, that's getsidekick.com/SPI, and you'll get your first month of Sidekick for free. Check it out. Thanks again so much. I appreciate you, and I look forward to serving you in the next episode of the SPI podcast. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate it, and if you want to support me the best way possible, just keep taking action, that smart action out there that's going to help move you forward in your business. Cheers, take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Hey, fellow podcaster, does this sound like something you've experienced? You record your podcast episode on one platform, download the files, edit in another app, then fire up a different tool just to create these social clips. Well, it can be clunky, time-consuming, and frankly overwhelming, especially for creators trying to grow. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Riverside. Riverside is the all-in-one platform. Record, edit, and repurpose your podcast content all in one place. You just log in, record with your guests no matter where you are in the world, and just like that, studio-quality audio and high-resolution video we use Riverside here at SPI as well now. With built-in AI, I can automatically clean up my audio, saving myself so much editing time, and it can even auto-generate clips to make promoting the show a breeze. And with Magic Clips, I can grab the best moments and repurpose them as short-form video, perfect for YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Instagram, without re-recording a thing. So if you're tired of juggling tools and want a faster, simpler way to create and scale your content, it's time to try Riverside, built by creators for creators. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside and use code SMART to get 1 month free on the Pro plan. That's smartpassiveincome.com/Riverside, promo code SMART. Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI.